Everyone has artifacts throughout their life that describe their emotions and their past and present and future. I've brought 3 of those with me today to show you just how my life has been. My first artifact is my old Vikings jersey. I've had this thing since before I can even remember. Ever since I've grown up, I've been a Vikings fan, and it reminds me of just times when I was young and times where things were a little simpler but a lot more fun. So whether it be like going to a Vikings game on a weekend or something with my family, or going after church, just sitting on the couch and devoting that day to Vikings. And that's been one of my favorite parts of growing up, is being part of a team, it feels like almost. And the emotion after each game would kind of carry out throughout the day or throughout the week, and it's just always been one of my favorite parts of growing up for sure. So that's my past artifact. My present one is probably a pretty big one for me, because everyone has something in their life that they can put a lot of passion into and use it to relieve a lot of stress, and without a doubt mine is tennis. Ever since I was young, I've grown up playing tennis, and it's been my favorite sport without a doubt. So my sister first taught me how to play tennis in grade school, and I know that it was one of my passions ever since she first put a racket in my hand. So it's been like 8 years, I feel like, since I started, and I definitely haven't gotten bored of it. My first real experience playing tennis came in high school tennis. So I first joined when I was a 8th grader, and I got on JV, so I was number 12 and got to go on some trips, but not all of them. And when I got to be a sophomore, I ended up being the number 1 on the team, which was really fun because then everyone on the team, kind of works together a little more in varsity, and it's a lot better experience. And we ended up making it to state each year since my sophomore year. So without a doubt, my favorite year was my senior year. Without being able to go to state, it would have been kind of a rougher year, but we ended up doing pretty well. Our WDA, we placed 2nd in team divisions, right behind Bismarck Legacy in a pretty close match. It was 2-3, we lost by just 1 match. And I took 3rd in the singles bracket, coming up behind Legacy's number 1 and Jamestown's number 1. So that was a really good experience for me, and that meant that I got to go to state. So the first day of state is always team bracket tournaments. So we first played West Fargo Cheyenne, and that was a really, really close match. We ended up losing by 1 match as well. One very winnable match, but it was a really, really good match. So we ended up losing our first one and winning the next 4 to not place, but end the team division part on a really, really big high. And the next day was the singles tournament, and this was my favorite singles tournament of my entire tennis career, because I ended up placing. So the first day of the singles bracket, I lost 1 match and won 4, which let me continue on to the next day. The next day consisted of about 3 more matches, and I won the first 2 to stay in it, and the last one to place 6th I lost, but it was still a really good match. So that is without a doubt one of the high parts of my life, is being able to devote a lot of time to tennis. And my last artifact is the 3 colleges I am still trying to decide between. So it's pretty much a question I get every single day, where I want to go to college. And I'm really indecisive when it comes to this, because I know it's going to be a huge decision, and they're all good colleges. So the first one, NDSU, it's like a really big hometown feel. I've been to all 3 of these, and I like them all, but NDSU is definitely the more closest to home, feels a lot like home. The second, Montana State University, I've been there for tennis camps, I've taken tours, and it's really mountainous, and I like snowboarding, so that would be a really fun place to go. Plus they have a pretty good engineering department, which is kind of what I'm leaning towards, or health, it's kind of on the border. And the last one is the University of Minnesota, where both of my sisters go. So I'm trying to decide which one I want to go to, and it's been really hard for me, but I know that I'll figure it out in time and figure out what I want to major in.